Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is John and this is your Modern Tech Breakdown. Today I've got some new details on why you seem to see endless headlines about AI safety and how AI, if left to its own devices, will ruin society. Let's jump into it. All right, so a few days ago, Axios got an interview with Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, and in the interview, he threw out some amazing fear-mongering. He said that we could easily see 10 to 20% unemployment within 5 years. He even tossed out a reference to some testing the company did on its latest models where the AI was cajoled into threatening to reveal an extramarital affair of an engineer to avoid being shut down. I mean, this is such an obvious attempt to grab a headline, but it was reported by the press. So I've talked about this before, but it's so odd that chatbots have triggered such scary sounding proclamations. The emergence of ChatGPT a few years ago has apparently sent heads spinning about all the terrible ways humanity might end at the hands of AI. So what's behind all this talk? Well, this was a topic discussed on a recent episode of the All In podcast. Here's a quick intro clip discussing the variety of interest groups that are seemingly focused on the issue of AI safety. Remember, AI has yet to harm a single human being, broadly speaking. We have people dying all over the world from war, poor nutrition, cancer, etc. But we have somehow gotten a ton of new nonprofit interest in the safety of AI. Here's the clip.
Well, there's also an industrial complex, according to some folks that are backing this. If you've heard of effective altruism, that was like this movement of a bunch of, I don't know, I guess they consider themselves intellectual sacks. And they were kind of backing a large swath of organizations that I guess we would call in the industry astroturfing, or what do they call it when you make so many of these organizations that they're not real in politics, and flooding the zone, perhaps. So if you were to look at this article here, Nick, I think you have the AI existential risk industrial complex graphic there. It seems like a group of people, according to this article, have backed to the tune of 1.6 billion, a large number of organizations to scare the bejesus out of everybody.
So the guys on the pod go on and they talk about how a group called Open Philanthropy, which is funded by Facebook billionaire Dustin Moskowitz, is at the heart of all of these groups. And the point guy on all of this is married to the sister of the Anthropic CEO. So it seems there's a bit of a political operation at the heart of these groups, and Anthropic is the for-profit wing of this operation. So what is the goal? Why does this operation exist? Well, the podcast goes on. Here's another clip.
So these are not coincidences. I mean, the reality is there's a very specific ideological and political agenda here. Now, what is that agenda? It's basically global AI governance, if you will. They want AI to be highly regulated, but not just at the level of the nation state, but I'd say internationally, supranationally.
To what end?
Well, if you just do a quick search on global compute governance, it'll tell you what the key aspects are. So number one, they want regulation of computational resources. This includes access to GPUs. They want AI safety and security regulation. They want international, you call them globalist agreements. And they want ethical and societal considerations or policy built into this.
So yeah, the AI industry has yet to turn a profit, has yet to really hurt a single person, and here we are with a bunch of NGOs clamoring for AI regulation and heavy-handed government intervention. I had no idea how big this operation was or how many groups were involved or how many billions of dollars have apparently already been spent on it. This is just crazy. Clearly there is more to this than just the goodwill of some billionaire. I don't think anyone wakes up and decides to spend $1 billion or more on a theoretical issue. So what's really going on here? Well, here's the last clip.
And I do think that they are single-mindedly focused on scaring people with some of these headlines around, first it was the bioweapons, then it was the superintelligence, now it's the job loss. And I think it's a tried and true tactic of people who want to give more power to the government to scare the population, right? Because if you can scare the population and make them fearful, then they will cry out for the government to solve the problem. And that's what I see here is that you've got this elaborate network of front organizations, which are all motivated by this EA ideology. They're funded by a hardcore leftist.
So there you have it. It's all a scam. It's all an attempt to get governments involved to build AI regulation. But John, I hear you asking, why would a company call out for regulation of their own industry? Well, regulations almost always serve the incumbents by building barriers to entry. It's quite apparent right now that many of these AI companies do not have a durable competitive advantage in the marketplace. They don't have a moat around their business. We've seen each company more or less copy the moves of each other over the past 2 or so years. So what Anthropic and others are trying to do is build a moat around AI so they don't have to compete with China or startups here in the United States. It's a naked and obvious attempt to use the power of the government to make themselves more money. And personally, I find that disgusting. This is not what innovation in the technology space should be about, and I hope these people fail miserably in the pursuit. But that's just my opinion. The comment section is there if you disagree. I read all of them. As always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.